Welcome everyone. I'm Janine and this is my podcast, Quest for You, episode 151. I'm super grateful you decided to join. If this is your first time, welcome. Today, we have a really important topic, discovering your passion. Because everyone, I believe at some point in their life, wonders, how do you discover your passion? How do you know what your purpose is? Is there even such a thing as purpose? And if so, is there only one? Or can we have several? So I decided today I want to spend some time on this episode to give you a few questions that you can ask yourself to help get clearer. However, please keep in mind, discovering your purpose is not the search for the Holy Grail. But it's also not a one-shot deal, meaning if you missed it, you're doomed. Many things can bring passion out in us. The important part is that we find something to live for that allows us to feel a sense of purpose. Whether it's the one and only purpose written somewhere for us, who cares? And most importantly, it's not like we will ever know. Rather, find what brings you joy and fulfillment. By adding more of that to your life, you'll gain a better perspective of your purpose. And that is my encouragement for today. The following questions may not lead you to an answer right away. And don't give up. Keep asking every so often. If you have a meditation or prayer practice, ask during that time. The simple act of opening yourself up to the question will bring clarity. But it can take time. Sometimes you just don't see it. It may be obvious to others, or it may speak clearly and loudly in the things that you do, but you just don't see it, or you don't want to accept it. And other times, you may not be ready. Maybe there are still certain experiences you need to have, or need to get through certain situations in life in order to be available to pursue your purpose. Maybe some things need to be brought to closure first. Sometimes the road to our purpose is complex and windy, and not so fun. I believe our purpose is revealed to us at the point when we start asking. That is the first step. And simply continuing to ask will set things in motion. Obstacles you need to overcome will fall by the wayside. Ideas will spark out of the blue. And certain activities and people will stand out more visibly in your life. And then there will be these things that just feel natural when you do them. When people say, you just know, that's what that is. You'll get more clarity because the things in your life that are related to your purpose will be drawn to you more closely. In addition to taking time, you may need to experiment. We all have many strengths, things that we're good at. We all have at least 2 to 3 things we would like to be good at. And we have even more desires and wishes and dreams. And finding what is meant for you may involve running down a certain path, only to realize later that it didn't lead anywhere. Again, don't think in absolute terms. Everything adds up. Sometimes wrong paths later lead to exactly the right path. There are always lessons we can learn from everything we do, mistake made or not. We can always learn. The important part is this, again, that you keep asking the question. That it is present in your mind, because things that are present for us have a way of making their way forward into consciousness. Ever noticed when you start feeling a little sour about your job? It doesn't usually happen overnight. Rather, it adds up. Small things that begin to irk you. Initially, they may not bother you much, but over time, they begin to take a hold of you. You think about them more often. You talk about them with your friends. And sometimes, maybe, they go away. But more often than not, the thought takes hold in your mind that you may want to start getting your resume out. You are now taking conscious action towards a new outcome. And it's like this with your passion. The more aware you are that you're looking for it, the more you will begin to evaluate your day-to-day activities. So here are 3 questions you can ask yourself to help you get more clarity on your passion, your purpose, maybe your question on what you're here for, what the point is of all this. Number 1, When does time fly? And when does it not? Observe your actions. Observe your activities throughout the day and become sensitive to time. When does time fly for you? When you love something, you lose the sense for time. You look up hours later and wonder, where did time go? And I'm not talking about being lost in a movie or in a casino in Las Vegas or on your phone. I'm talking about an activity where your body and your mind are completely engaged, where you're so deeply entrenched that you forget to check your phone, forget to eat, and everything else that might normally be a disruption. In those moments, we often don't realize that we're doing something that aligns with our passion. Maybe because it's our job, or we think that we're just really good at focusing. I think there's more. I love to sit and prepare for my episodes, writing, creating content, thinking. I almost get upset sometimes when I have to stop in the middle of it all because I have to go somewhere. I'm deeply in flow, and all I want at that moment is to continue. Do you have times where you experience something like this? And think also about the opposite. When does time crawl? When do you sit on edge, can't wait to get done or out, checking your phone every few minutes, eating mindlessly, surfing the web and reading random stuff? I'm telling you, the best diet is called follow your passion. Because doing what you love takes priority over everything else. We often eat out of boredom or stress or dissatisfaction with our current circumstances. Imagine changing those conditions and spending more time doing what brings you joy. So take a look at that. You may not currently have anything that comes to mind. And then I remind you of my earlier point. Experiment. Play with a few things that you may have been thinking about. But in order to get clarity, you need to take some action. Your passion will not fall from the sky into your lap. The same applies when you have too many activities you enjoy. Experiment. Dive deeper. Which ones are more rewarding? Which ones are just wishes? And which ones are activities you truly get lost in? Question number 2. What do people ask you to help them with? Others are a great gauge to help you identify your passions. Yeah, you may be good with spreadsheets, and that's why people ask you, but it may not be your passion. I remember at a previous job, there was one particular person, he was amazing with spreadsheets. He wouldn't just show me the formula that I needed. He would explain a ton of things around it, and I always walked away learning more than what I came for. I believe someone doesn't become so good without having some passion for it. I encourage you to explore what are you good at. Do you have a knack for something? You may just not be using the skill in a way that brings you the greatest joy. Your abilities can be applied in so many different ways. When it involves our job, which we don't like, we tend to shut down, thinking we need to quit our careers and start our own coffee shop. Don't dismiss your career and look for aspects of it that are well suited for you, that you excel at, and that others seek you out for. Your passion is usually aligned with the things that you love. So my last question is this. What brings fulfillment to your life? Just because you experience time flying may not always be a solid indicator that you actually feel fulfilled afterwards. I have many days at work where I was productive and on top of my game, and the day flew by. But that doesn't mean the activities I performed enriched my life to the degree that I would call them fulfilling. The same applies to question 2, as we already discussed. So look for fulfillment. To me, this is the most important measuring stick. I want to do something that fills me up, where I feel I'm adding value and make a difference. Doing what you love is not the right question here. Look for something higher. Look for time well spent. Don't worry so much about finding that one and only purpose. It is more important that you go out and explore and discover what feels important to you. And doing something is better than nothing. If there's something that you want to do, something you think about doing, something you fantasize about doing, yet you don't do it, then you will not discover your passion. Thinking about purpose is not enough. Passion is the result of action. Find a problem you care about and start solving it. Find an activity that interests you and try it out. Learn the skill you've been wanting to learn since you were little. And ending with a quote from Mark Manson. Discovering one's purpose in life essentially boils down to finding those 1 or 2 things that are bigger than yourself and bigger than those around you. It's not about some great achievement, but merely finding a way to spend your limited amount of time well. And to do that, you must get off your couch and act, and take the time to think beyond yourself, to think greater than yourself, and, paradoxically, to imagine a world without yourself. I hope this episode helped you to ask yourself some questions and maybe start going down a path that may lead you to your wonderful and great and amazing passion. Much love.